What's up, everybody? This is Tom Taylor with South China Morning Post, SCMP Martial Arts, joined this evening by one of the brightest young contenders in the one championship atomweight division, Alyse Anderson. Alyse, how's life? How's everything going?
It's been going good. I got to go back home to Michigan right after the fight, and I just got back to Florida last week. So like getting back into training and just getting back into like fight shape and stuff. I don't have any news yet on a fight or opponents yet, so I just like bug my manager every day and ask him if he's heard anything, and he says he'll let me know when he does. But I still call him like every morning just to see, because it's usually like because of the time difference, like I just check in the morning, like if he got an update throughout the night, and then I don't have to worry about it all day. So just like a normal check each morning.
Right. Yes. You got to be persistent in this game. It's good to check in. How was it being back home in Michigan? That must have been nice.
Yeah, I got to take my dirt bike out, pick up my dog back up. It's definitely uh not like Singapore or even as hot as here, but it's nice to see the family and stuff.
Nice. Well, let's talk a bit about your last trip to Singapore. You had a great fight with Asha Roka. That was about a month ago now. I mean, now that you've had some time to think about it, think about the performance, watch the tape back. How do you feel about that performance?
Uh, I feel like I didn't like my striking wasn't there. Like I I knew that like that was her strength and stuff. So and she came like a little like shorter than I thought too. So she's kind and she like had a lower stance because like right away I was like thinking about the takedown, and I kept circling to try to like look for it, but because she was like kind of squatted though, I feel like that like threw me off. And then when I got hit in the face, I touched my eye and I took a step back, and like you're always taught to never cross your feet. And like how I took a step back, my feet were just really close together at the same time that she punched me. And like, cause I was like, I know I didn't like get flash knocked out because I was like still there, but I definitely know I was like on my feet at 1 second and then
Mhm.
looking like grabbing on. So I was like, it happened so fast. So I saw like my feet got really close as I was backing up, and that's like when I got caught off balance. And yeah, I just lucky that I like believed in my jujitsu and like was comfortable there because that was I thought I was about to get TKO'd. Like that's the first thing that came in my head was like just do anything, just grab her.
Yeah, well, it worked out in the end. It's interesting you mentioned, grabbing your eye there. I noticed that when I watched back the fight earlier today. Was there an eye poke or something, or did she just get you with a good punch there? Like, why were you
I
throwing it
think
right?
my I think it was just a close punch, and like my eye must have just been open because I remember I was just trying to push my contact back up because like I wear them when I fight, and they usually always come out each fight. But I remember like seeing like feeling it switch over, and like usually if I just like push on my eye, it will go back up. But you're used to inspiring like somebody like letting you do that, I guess.
Right.
So like, I like did made a stupid mistake like and did that, and not thinking about where my feet were. But I didn't even see it like till like the fifth time I rewatched the fight, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally remember doing that now.
Right, right. Well, obviously, you don't want to get hurt in fights. You don't want to get dropped in fights, but you were able to recover and win the fight in the end. Did that give you like some confidence in your chin at all? Like, is there a silver lining here that you at least know you can recover from a big shot?
Oh, I've like always like gone really hard with like a lot bigger people, and like growing up, my dad would pull me out of any gym. Like he used to watch every practice, and if he like didn't see like that's why my ears look like this. If he like didn't see me like be up after practice, he would like be mad at the coach and like upset because like he's like believes in the old school system. Like like if you get through like a fight camp, then you can fight. And like that was the only way he was gonna let me fight while I was still in high school. It was like if you make it through an 8 week camp and I get to go to every practice and I think that you're ready, then you can fight. And I was like, oh, he's never gonna let me, but he did. And I got so beat up. I got pulled into the counselor's office in high school with my lips and ears because like no girls really fought then. And yeah, so I think that I knew I could always take a punch, but now I like know at least like in a cage I can.
Well, yeah, that explains why you're so damn tough. That's interesting. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
now I don't like to train like that. He loves when I call him upset about getting hurt or like hard rounds at the gym, and I'm like, Dad, like this is a lot of money on the line. Like if I get hurt, I can't fight, and if I don't fight, then I don't make like get paid. So he's like, No, I love it. I love that they go so hard on you. I want them to hurt you. Okay, I gotta go.
That's awesome. Um, having said all that, when you finally got the sub in that fight after the scare that you endured, I mean, how much of a relief was that to tap her out in the first round after that crazy exchange?
Just to like get my first win with one was like so much pressure relieved because it was like you always like questioning yourself like in a new promotion, like do I belong here? Like do like all the girls that could be here, like I don't feel like I earned it. And you like just like especially when you lose your debut, which happened in Invicta too, you're like, oh my gosh, like I knew this was a bad idea. And then it's like all that is like wiped away when you get your first one. It's like I knew that I had it in me. Like the first thing I said to my manager, I was like, we did it. And I just kept saying that because it's like, that's all I could think of is like, oh my gosh, it's over. Like all the stress, like the last year and a half coming off a loss and like finally getting that win, it's a relief.
Yeah, I bet, man. You did it though. That's so great. It must have been so exciting for you. After the fight, you kind of I want to say like went viral a little bit on social media, just because you went backstage and apologized to her for hanging onto that sub a little bit too long. I guess you thought you hung on to it too long. Really classy move, obviously, and it seemed like people really appreciated you doing that. Thought it was really cool of you to do that. I'm just wondering, like, what compelled you to do that? Why was that so important to you to do?
Well, the first like rewatch of I knew that I did it then too, but again, I grew up in a really old school gym and like I was taught to like the ref needs to pull you off. And I feel like because I was rocked in like an altered, like a panic mode, like I just like went back to that instinct, like no matter what, like you don't let go. And I knew the second like I like got up that I did that, and I was like, oh shit, like that was bad. And then uh we like rode in the ambulance to the hospital together just to like get checked. And once we got there, we were in like next to each other in the waiting room, and I didn't know my manager was sitting there because he knew I was nervous to talk to her. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go up, and luckily her corner spoke English, so he could translate.
That was such a cool exchange, and it was obvious, there was no hard feelings. It was really cool to see you guys kind of hash that out afterwards.
Yeah, I did. I felt bad after seeing it too because I was like, yeah, I see like how that was a little long.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious as a viewer. I have to say that it was unintentional. These things happen in the thick of battle. I'm sure, especially like you said, when you've been rocked and you're perhaps not completely collected. I wanted to ask you, that was your first full training camp at ATT, right, for that fight?
Yep.
And what was that like for you, training at a gym like that?
It was definitely like high pace. Like there's no easy sessions. Which I think like even getting used to like that level of training outside of camp is tough because like usually I feel like when you like get done with a fight and you go back in the gym, you kind of like get to like coast until you have like a fight camp, like work on more technique and stuff. But really like here's like always like fight mode because you're like either helping someone get ready or so it's just like hard training all the time. So it took like a little bit of adjusting, especially like all the high levels. Like I'm used to having like some easy rounds, and that just like doesn't exist here, which is what you need. But it's hard being like low on the totem pole.
Well, you'll only be along the totem pole for so long. As the wins keep coming and you keep gaining experience, eventually you'll be the experienced one at the gym that everyone's afraid of, right?
Yeah, I'll be like the Joanna of the gym.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great role model to aspire to. How important do you feel like ATT was to that first one championship win?
I think that like I needed like to just up like my competition in training with like girls just because like guys I feel like you don't really get like the best look because you don't know if they're like going too light and stuff. So until you're like in an exchange with like a girl in the cage, you're not getting like a true test of where you're at. So I feel like I could like gauge where I was at more like with consistent training partners that are like super high level obviously if they're training there. And um like that's obviously why I moved, and I think that that did help because at first I subbed everyone with a triangle, and they all learned like the defense to it right away. And then like for weeks and weeks, like I haven't gotten anyone in a triangle, and it's like, well, now like that I snapped it on so fast because I've had to come up with all these new ways to try to get to it because I'll learn a new one and then they'll instantly go and learn the defense. I'm like, shit, like I just can't catch these girls anymore. So like they're constantly like making me like level up. It
That's
sucks to be in training, but like, I don't care about that. I care about winning fights.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get better at. That's so awesome to hear. You mentioned Joanna a moment ago. Obviously, a lot of incredible fighters at ATT. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like to walk in there some days and just look around and see all these champions and stars and veterans. Having said that, is there anyone at the gym that really kind of like inspired you? You know, that really kind of pushed you during that last camp?
Well, Joanna didn't really like love me that much. I just think like it was her last camp and my first camp there, so we didn't really talk to each other. And like as I was leaving one day, or I was like going to run, and we were like passing each other, and I just like made eye contact with her and looked back down. I'm like super shy at the gym. I just like to do my thing and leave. And then she's like, "Hey, if you're going to fucking look at me, then you fucking say good morning." And I was so scared. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, good morning." And every single day I saw her and said good morning. And called my dad and I was like, "I hate this place." And he's like, "That's what you need because I know that Joanna, if she's intimidating you every day, there's no one in the one division that is going to scare you." And like I took that with me like the rest of my camp, and she actually ended up sending me like a nice message before I left, like telling me like good luck and that she like noticed my hard work and stuff. Like uh and like I didn't thank her, but like I feel like when I did go into that fight, it upped my confidence because like of what my dad said, like because I had like she's scary. And if I could like deal with her on the mats every day, like just not really liking me and kind of like intimidating me, like I knew that once I got to Singapore, like nobody was gonna scare me. I was like, well, that was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life.
Yeah, that would terrify me too. I have to say, I'd probably run out of the gym and never come back. You're a lot tougher than I am.
I
Um,
thought about it. I was like, the whole time I was running, I was like, I can't believe that just happened. I just want to go home. I
yeah,
almost started crying. I was like, I just hate this.
yeah, that must have been a little bit demoralizing, but it sounds like in the end it was a positive thing for you, right?
Yeah, like back to like that old school training, like it just makes you mentally tough. And I feel like
Yeah.
that did.
Cool, cool. Well, it sounds like you're in a great headspace ahead of your return to the one championship circle. Now, I know you mentioned that there's nothing on the table just yet. You've been checking with your manager, but as far as your perfect outcome, when do you want to fight again?
Well, I was looking at the August card because Adriano fights on it. So if we could like have like double the coaches come, I feel like which would be cool. And he's a title fight, so he gets two. So like to have like a little team there, which is what we were trying to do with the one X card, but it kind of fell apart. But if we could do that this time, that would be awesome. But um, I don't know if I'm gonna get on that card from what it sounds like with my manager. But I don't know if they've released any more dates. But I also want to fight with fans really bad. That's why I
Hmm.
wanted to go to the one X one so bad. But next one.
Hmm. Well, the good news is, that August card that you're talking about is the first big card on Amazon Prime and US Prime Time, obviously. But there are plans for tons more of those over the coming months. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for you to fight, in prime time for your US fans. That's got to be pretty exciting for you, right?
Yeah, it's a little weird though, because like we're gonna be fighting in the morning over there,
Hmm.
and I've never done that. And like anyone that knows me knows that like even 11:30 practice, like I'm like out of bed and like just then like still waking up as we warm up. Like don't talk to me until I've warmed up because I like hate training in the morning. So I'm like, man, I don't know how people do that.
Maybe you can pick Adriano's brain a little bit. He's done it a couple times now, I think, and you guys are you've gotten quite close training at ATT, right? Maybe he's
Yeah,
got some tips.
yeah, he's awesome, and we always talk about like stuff at one, and he's really cool.
Cool, cool. So who do you want to fight then? We've talked about when you want to fight. Who would you like to fight in a perfect world next? Any ideas?
No, I haven't even really looked at it yet. Like they were trying to get me to name somebody before my last fight, like at media day, the week my fight week, and I was like, let me just get through this fight, like, and then I'll look. And so like they listed off a bunch of names that like the matchmakers, and I was like, whoever, like I don't all the names that they said, I was like I'd fight them. So I feel
Nice,
good in the division.
nice. Well, how long do you think roughly? How many more wins do you think it'll be before you're fighting ranked girls in this division?
Uh, Hopefully like within the night, like I have like four more on my contract, so like before the end of my contract.
Hmm. And how do you feel about potentially sharing the one championship circle with names like, Stamp Fairtex and Ritu Pogget and all these dangerous girls?
Uh, it just gets me excited because I feel like the higher your competition is, like the more like motivated you are like during your camp because like you know like how big of a fight it is.
What do you think of the champion, Angela Lee?
I've always loved her as a champion. Like even like before I was with one, I've like just been a fan of her. So I think she's like one of the best well-rounded girls, and that's why she's been so successful. Is because a lot of girls are like one-dimensional going in. But uh, yeah, she's awesome to watch, and like I'm just gonna keep working forward towards that fight, obviously.
Hmm. And after training with the likes of Joanna, how confident are you that you can one day take the title from somebody like Angela?
I know that this will be like the gym that will help me do it.
Hmm. And how good would that feel for you after the journey you've had to win a title and one championship?
Oh, that would be like insane. Like can't even like put it into like perspective yet.
It would be very cool. All right, well, we're just over the 15-minute mark. I'll let you get back to your evening over there. I know you're a busy woman. Let's wrap it up with this. We've talked about the title shot, but one thing at a time. Where do you want to be by the end of 2022? Say.
The goal would be like two more wins, like going into like uh my third fight, uh like at the beginning of next year. But I don't think I'll. Maybe you'll get two more in by that. Maybe not. But definitely at least one more win, and then either the beginning of next year, either the second or third fight.